Good morning here from Palm Springs. Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times and Aspiring magazine. And I'm so glad to have my guests here today. I'm going to go around the Zoom room and have them introduce themselves. Thank you three for joining us.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you for having us. I'm Rebecca Metz. I play Rachel in Dropping Off, and I am a producer.
A fabulous producer at
Oh,
that.
and I'm in Highland Park.
Oh, thank you for that. Yes.
I'm Will Mayo. I'm the co-director, co-writer, and I also edited Dropping Off. And we live in Beachwood Canyon.
Yeah, I'm Scott McGregor, co-writer, co-director, and casting and all these other different things
Okay.
for dropping off.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Gentlemen, if you could tell me when your beautiful film airs at the festival, please.
Well, we've got the world premiere at Dances with Films tomorrow, June 20th, in
4:15
at the
Chinese
TCL
theaters.
Chinese theaters. And then we go to Palm Springs 4 days later on the 24th for I think it's on the job
On the job.
block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 p.m. Wednesday.
Lovely. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing the film. Dropping Off begins with what seems like a simple rideshare interaction and quickly becomes something much deeper. What was the original spark for this story?
We live in a kind of a secluded area of Beachwood Canyon, off kind of in a mini canyon. I won't tell the exact location for our own safety, but uh, it's a hard place to get to, and there's a number of security cameras around. And one day, I helped the property by monitoring the security cameras. One day, somebody drove up this very long hidden driveway and parked under our bedroom window and dumped a bunch of ashes on the hill underneath our bedroom window. And at first it was kind of, oh no, oh no, oh no. That shouldn't happen. And I kind of freaked out and I had to talk to the cops. And then I was thinking, what do I do? Do I go and pick every little bit of ash out of the hill? No, you can't do that. So you have to accept and invite this person or whoever or whatever was dropped off under our bedroom window to our home. We had wanted to write something for a long time. We've been working on something about a rideshare interaction where a rideshare driver has to make a tricky choice that maybe goes beyond the boundaries of their professional capacity. And this person drove up and dropped some ashes, and it was like, okay, well, let's figure out how, why, where, who, and
Yeah.
it kind of went from there.
Yeah. And for context, Ian and I are married. We've been making films together for 13 years now. And for a long time, Ian had been bugging me to, like, we should make a film shot on iPhone. And
As a challenge,
as a
handicap
challenge,
kind of
or
thing.
as just like the ease, the cost of it would be much lower.
Mhm.
And I was never really into the idea because I wanted something that was like a real reason to shoot something on iPhone. And we came up with this idea, and we decided to shoot all of it on security devices, on surveillance things
Dash
like dash
cams,
cam
yeah.
and security cameras. And then it became pretty obvious that, like, oh, we can incorporate iPhone videos into this. So this became our iPhone movie.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So, Rebecca, I'm going to get to you in just a second, but with only 14 minutes to tell the story, how did you decide what to include and what to leave unsaid?
Well, I think the main character, Tom, is very much an extension of myself. We moved from New York City after living there for almost 20 years, where we met in Brooklyn, um, to Los Angeles in 2020. And of course, everybody was cloistered in their homes and masked and, hand sanitizer and 6 feet apart. So it already felt like a pretty distant time from each other, from humanity. And it was difficult to leave Brooklyn, which is, hi, how you doing, to everybody, no matter what. How's your mom? that kind of thing. Um, and come to a place, Los Angeles can be in its own bubble in so many ways. You're in your car, you're at work, you're back in your car, you're at home. And I was missing connections, and I was thinking about how difficult that time specifically was, how difficult the move was, and how do you make friends? How do you connect? And it really came from that. A lot of times you find connections in places that you wouldn't expect them. Um, and that's sort of the magic of being alive, right? I met Rebecca on a casting bench and instantly fell in love with her. We had, I think we had, was it we had a callback together for the same thing.
Yeah.
Fun. How interesting. So, yeah, Rebecca, this story touches on grief in a very human way. How did you approach portraying those emotions while keeping the character authentic and grounded? And what initially drew you to the project and your character specifically?
Well, I mean, to be honest, what initially drew me to the project was my friend Ian saying, "Hey, do you want to be in one of our movies?" Like, I, I kind of all I want in this world and this career is to work with wonderful people on great writing and projects that feel worthwhile and valuable. And Ian and Will are wonderful people, and I was sure that whatever they wanted to do was going to be wonderful too. And so, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I don't really care what it is. Um, and then when I read it, I lost my dad in 2024, so the subject of grief and loss was very present for me, and just a lot of sort of what the film touches on, even just internally within the characters, was stuff that had been happening with and within me in that time frame. So it was easy, it was accessible, it felt kind of like kismet, and it was lovely to get to work on that with a group of people and kind of share some of that common experience, because it can be very isolating.
Yeah, it was a very special day that we shot with you, right?
Yeah, we shot on the 1 year anniversary of my dad passing.
Wow.
And I was so grateful to have something creative and positive and communal to do that day.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Um, for any of you, the film centers on two people who might never have met under ordinary circumstances. What do you hope the audiences take away about empathy and connection after watching Dropping Off?
Well, I mean, I think the main tension of the film, and this is kind of going back to your question about like how did we decide to what to keep in? It's like there's this question of like, will he or won't he spread these ashes for this person? And that's how we constructed the film. Um, and there's we set up the film as it's a guy who is just looking for any sort of connection, any sort of like reason to still be here in this city. It's like what these choices, what did I do? And this what do you call it, the task that he's been given is sort of a door into into something that's bigger than himself. I think living here in Hollywood, it's very easy to get bogged down, to feel like you're not included. You're not invited to that party down the street
Mhm.
with all the fancy people. Um, but then we live in a neighborhood where Charlie Chaplin's old theater is,
Yeah.
and you realize that you're surrounded by ghosts of artists that like you feel connected to this place. There's something bigger here, and it's those moments living in Hollywood that really make it just like a very magical place.
Yeah, I mean, especially as artists, striving and trying, and I'm sure Rebecca can speak to this as a successful actress, and I'm an actor as well. But you're always looking at the coattails of the person in front of you. You always kind of get bogged down thinking, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right art? Am I making the right choices? Am I talking to the right people? Did I say the right thing? And we get kind of myopic, but when you lift your head up and look around, there is so much. Apparently, the land that we live on was meant to be the original Hollywood Bowl. When it wasn't the original Hollywood Bowl, it was Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn's love shack hideaway. And then NASA came in and built this apartment complex. It's JPLA, and like the wonder of lifting your head up and kind of getting out of your own mind and letting the world show you the magic that is just for the taking was really, I mean, especially and when you think about a rideshare driver, it's a person for hire. It's the help, and a lot of times in researching the experiences of delivery persons or rideshare drivers, they were treated horribly. I mean, you're hired, and I can abuse you and harass you and ignore you, all I want because I'm paying for this. But that, again, lifting your head up and finding the connection that just happens to be there. It's very rewarding. It's hard to do, hard to remind yourselves to do that, but
Thank you. Thank
Also,
you
can
for
I
that.
jump in for 1 second
Sure.
and just say one other thing that I love about this short is the sort of aspect of the wildlife and the outdoor cameras. Like, I am a person who has cameras pointing at our outdoors because one of the things that's unique about Los Angeles is that we are in a city and we are in a wilderness. And you can be smack in the middle of LA and have coyotes and possums and raccoons trotting down your driveway in the middle of the day. And I love that this film manages to capture that aspect of Los Angeles because that's one of my favorite things about living here.
Rebecca and I text each other videos of animals all the time. Like, we just came by. Look, it's a coyote. Look, a bobcat.
Yep.
We wanted the film to land on this note of like, it's the circle of life. Can't escape death.
Yeah.
It all ends back in nature. I don't know. Yeah, it's nice to be on the border here between society and nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for that. Yes, I can relate very well. Rebecca, as an actor, how do you communicate so much through silence and subtle reactions? Because many of the film's most powerful moments come from what isn't said.
I don't know how. And
Okay,
I
that's fair.
try not to think about it too much. Here's like one thing that I know is that I have what some have described as a loud face. It is very easy to see what I am thinking at all times, which in life can be a detriment, but on camera is really helpful. So I've ended up in the right career. And I think it takes a long time, especially if you're trained in theater, which I was, to learn to trust that the camera is going to capture a fleeting thought. I mean, that's I think one of the hardest parts of making the transition from stage to film is really trusting that you can let the camera just be on you in silence. And if you just let yourself experience the internal life of the character, the camera will see it. And so it's really just about trusting that process and not trying, not pushing, but just allowing that the character's life to sort of channel through you and let the camera do its work, which is something that Willian captures so beautifully in this film. I think that's part of what makes it so special.
Love that. I just have two more questions because I know we're running out of time. For the guys, as co-writers and co-directors, how do you divide responsibilities on the set, especially, knowing that you're partners, and where do your creative strengths complement one another?
I have a background as a theater actor. I grew up in San Francisco on the stages there, and then moved to New York to do theater. It turned out that ended up being on a lot of on-camera things, a lot of video games, which I'm very grateful for. I didn't expect that. But because of that, I love actors. I adore actors, and I sort of collect them. I collected Rebecca from the casting bench and was like, "We're going to do something someday. Watch out, get ready." And uh, I'm also in our creative partnership. So I work a lot with the actors. I do a lot of the casting and say, "Oh, this person would be really good for this," and we go back and forth with that. But we joke that like I start the films by saying, "This is a fun idea. What do you think of this?" And he goes, "No, no, 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 you're crazy." And then I eventually convince him, and then
Well, I think that I offer. So I went to film school. I have a background in cinematography, and then I realized I didn't really want to be a cinematographer or on set all the time, although I love it in short spurts. So I am now an editor. I work as an editor. So I think like the technical, but also just like the see, I can see shots. I can see how things are edited. I know that's that part of it comes very naturally to me. I have a little bit of a background in acting, but like when it comes to really working with actors, Ian is so naturally good at that it sort of on set it turns out to be me behind the camera looking at and I'm saying I'm like doing the blocking. I'm like saying they need to come here
yeah,
and like
up a
this
bit, left a bit, right.
and like he'll be talking to the actors to get into the scene and then we'll do a thing and then I'll be like that little moment right there felt false and then he
I'll
agrees and then
readjust.
he'll run and then
But we joke
yeah.
that like I start these films, like, I get it all messy. And Rebecca can attest to this. The first reading of the script was wildly different than what it turned out to be. But I joke that I start them and then Will finishes them. With this film specifically, I left Will alone for 2 months.
You didn't leave me alone.
Well, I didn't, of course I didn't leave you alone, but like I wasn't covering shoulder that way. Like, you really
Sure.
you
I mean,
were
it took 2 months to edit this thing. It was a monster of an edit because we were filming with cameras that never stopped filming.
mm,
They were real security cameras. So syncing all the audio to these never-ending shots, and then figuring out where a take started, and that was a nightmare. And then we have layers and layers of video that are playing with each other, and it was quite an undertaking.
very, very ambitious, we realized afterwards. At one point, we had 12 cameras running for a take. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that we did this, but we're very proud of it. It's we watch it still and are very moved, and we're very taken with how it worked. And it was a very collaborative effort. Rebecca really informed especially speaking to her experience with her father passing just a year prior. We talked a lot about, what is this and how does this work with the main actor, Tanner Agkun Steinbach, who we found on TikTok, who's never acted before. It's his first audition that he ever did. I sat with him for 9 months and taught him about like, this is how you angle towards the camera and this is how we use our voices and stuff. Um, and it was really amazing to do that, to kind of pass the knowledge along. And Alyssa Limperis, who plays Claire in the film, Will had worked in a film with her before.
Yeah, I edited several films with Alyssa,
Um,
and her experience with grief as well. Really, like her she has a stand-up special that's all about losing her dad,
mhm.
and it just felt right to cast Alyssa as the character of Claire, who is uh, handing
Handing the ashes
her
over.
grandmother's ashes
Yeah.
over to Tanner's character.
But a
Yeah.
very, very collaborative effort. One of the things that I'm most proud about is when we talk to people who were integral on the crew, they say, we made such a neat thing. And like, I love that. That's so rewarding to know that everybody that worked on this takes some ownership for how it turned out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ian and Will. Um, I just have like a quick final, hopefully fun closing question. If audiences could leave the theater remembering just one feeling or one idea from dropping off, what would each of you hope that would be?
Rebecca, take this one.
I feel like I'm going to steal your answer, but I would say connection, that, people that you have even passing interactions with in this life have stories and experiences and can become, like Ian said, he picked me up at a at a commercial callback. You never know what fleeting interaction is going to take you down a wonderful road.
Yeah. I mean, ditto. I think that's what the film is about. It's about these unexpected connections that open up so much more. It can open you up to the mysteries of life surrounding you. Yeah.
I want people to leave the theater remembering the feeling. I'm going to get emotional saying this. Remembering the feeling of being loved by somebody that you've lost, and how that stays with you for the rest of your life. Somebody that believed in you and still believes in you from wherever they are.
Beautiful, Ian. Thank you. So, what are each of you working on next?
Well, we have a feature film that we're spinning up. We just submitted to the Sundance Labs. It's based on an Obie Award-winning play. It won the Obie in New York in 2001, September 2001. Amazingly, it won the Obie there. The play is about grief. It's called In on It. It was written by a mentor of mine named Daniel McGregor. Daniel was my mentor because I was in the West Coast premiere of it in San Francisco in 2006. 10 years later, Daniel and Will and I tried to mount a reading in New York to find some backers, and it didn't quite go. And then 10 years later, we approached Daniel about how do we turn this play, this amazing play, into a film.
A two-man show.
It's a two-man show, yeah. But the movie is very different. It's filled with a bunch of characters. And that's very exciting.
Well, you got to make sure you keep us posted.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. And Rebecca, you have any plans?
Yeah, so the festival I'm obviously dropping off as part of Dances with Films and Palm Springs Short Fest, as is another film that I worked on with Alyssa, so that's going to be really fun. I shot an indie feature last year through Will and Ian. And so that will come out whenever it comes out, because movies take a long time. I've been doing some voiceover work, which has been really, really fun new exploration, and I'm auditioning. So we shall see. Stay tuned.
Yeah, fingers crossed for all of us.
Busy girl. Well, good. I'm glad you all are busy. We're the Hollywood Times today. The Hollywood Times officials, our YouTube channel. Please keep us posted on your future endeavors. And thank you for the film, and good luck with all this film festival screenings. And thank you again for all your time.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful day.
Have a great rest of your day. See you soon. Bye.